Rob Dawson here. I got Jeff Goodman with me.
Hell no.
John Fink.
Are we still live?
Field of 68 till I die.
I'm sorry, man. I blacked out.
Randolph Children.
DJ Khaled, you know the big DJ Khaled guy?
Hands brought up and in.
Goodman needs to be fired all the time.
Josh Pastner. You're going to beat people straight up.
You know the deal. Drink responsibly tonight. I'll be drinking with you.
Jarrell McNeil.
From the bluest of the blue bloods to the smallest of the mid-majors.
This is Field of 68 After Dark.
It is Field of 68 After Dark on this Wednesday evening. It is great to be with all of you. I'm John Fanta. Chris Mack is here. Matt McCall is here, and we are breaking down a night of college basketball where during finals week there are fewer games naturally. But that doesn't mean there isn't madness. Chicago State beats Northwestern. We'll get to it. Creighton just fell to UNLV, the top 10 ranked Blue Jays, falling to the Running Rebels. And Louisville loses by double digits to Arkansas State. We're going to get to all of that and more. But before we get into it, Coach McCall, what does that say to you about the state of this sport through the first 5 weeks and change of the season?
I'm not going to try to be the coach speak because Doster and Goodman get so mad when I do the coach speak, but it's hard to win. It's hard to win, especially winning on the road. When you go on the road and try to play these games, it's hard to win. And there's teams that are good, and you'll have this is a difficult time, and Coach Mack can attest to this, for your team because final exams are either going on or they've already wrapped up. There's nobody on campus. How can you keep your team completely locked in on what we have to do? It's like a ghost town, especially if you live in a college town. It's a ghost town when final exams are over. What's your crowd like? Who's there? Or you got to completely just generate your own energy out there on the floor. It's in time, and I think that's why you see teams lose games at this point in the year that they're not, normally going to lose. And it's just, they're finishing up exams. You got to change your practice time. Normally you practice every day, the exact same time. Now you're changing that, and everybody's kind of out of rhythm. You haven't played a game in maybe, 7 to 8 days. Like, you got to take into factor all that stuff. But also there's a lot of parity in college basketball right now, bottom line, and winning is hard.
Mack.
Business as usual. I mean, this is the time that we're in. I mean, I think every year you have these type of upsets where you're like, how in the heck did this team not only hang with a top 20 team, how'd they beat them? And, tonight's a perfect example. Creighton gets it handed to them. I don't know if anybody after Northwestern's win over Purdue could have predicted this. I mean, Chicago State, it's not like they're having a banner year themselves. And they come in here, they're ranked one of the worst teams in Division I, and they knock off Northwestern. But Matt is right, John. I mean, you know this from visiting arenas. You go in December, it's a lot different than when students are back in town and it's, late January and it's a conference game and the stands are bumping, with the students up and down. And they usually set the tone at every arena, especially the teams that have really good attendance. So I know everybody feels like the players should be robots. Hey, they should come out and play hard regardless. But it's hard to find that motivation when your kids are thinking about Christmas, nobody's in the stands, and you're playing maybe a no-name team. It all adds up. And, not every team gets upset, but there are a lot of upsets this time of year.
We'll cover that as the night goes along. We also have a feature on Cam Jones. Yes, the Marquette star. He is our new Field of 68 fashion correspondent. He's going to tell us what he thinks of Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's wardrobes. You do not want to miss that deeper into the show.
No,
but we begin tonight. What's that, McCall?
No, you don't. I'm excited for that. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. We begin tonight, though, with the major news in college sports today. Earlier today, college athletes who were denied the chance to play immediately after transferring a second time can return to competition for now after a federal judge issued a 14-day temporary restraining order today against the NCAA. U.S. District Judge John Preston Bailey in Northern West Virginia issued the order against the NCAA from enforcing its transfer rule for those multi-time transfers. We know the one-times are immediately eligible. This lawsuit filed by West Virginia and 6 other states allege the rules waiver process violated federal antitrust laws. So with more on that, we bring in our Field of 68 legal correspondent, Mitt Winter, at Winter Sports Law on Twitter. He's an attorney at Kenny Hertz Perry LLC, an NIL attorney, and he was a Division I basketball player for William and Mary. Mitt, it's great to have you with us tonight. So explain to all those fans and followers of college basketball in more basic terms what this ruling is about and what your reaction and thought process is to what transpired this afternoon.
Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me on, guys. Appreciate it. So at a basic level, this ruling means for at least 14 days, if you're a multi-time transfer who previously would have needed a waiver to be able to play right away, you don't need that waiver and you're able to play. So that's the basic part of it. In addition to that, some of your listeners might be familiar with a rule the NCAA has that's called the restitution rule that says if you play subject to a court order and then that court order is later overturned, the NCAA can still punish the school and the athlete that played. The court order also enjoined enforcement of that restitution rule. So if an athlete plays within this 14-day window and then that order is either overturned or a preliminary injunction, which is a longer term, doesn't get put in place, the NCAA can't punish the athlete for that happening. So if I'm advising a school or a coach who has a multi-time transfer who doesn't have a waiver yet, I would tell them to play those athletes. The NCAA has also said, I think a few hours ago, if an athlete plays a few games and then it turns out that the TRO goes away and a preliminary injunction doesn't get entered, they're not going to count that as the guy's year of eligibility if he plays like 2 or 3 games. So it's almost a situation where if you're a multi-time transfer, you don't have your waiver, there's no risk in playing.
So, Mitt, I guess the natural question to follow up on that is, look, none of us have an exact crystal ball, but when this gets brought back up in 2 weeks, what do you see the future holding and what determines it?
In my opinion, the court is going to enter a preliminary injunction, which is an injunction that would be in place for the entire time that the case is proceeding to a final decision. And the reason I say is one of the factors the court has to look at in granting a temporary restraining order, which is what the court entered here, is whether the plaintiff, who in this case is the 7 states that brought this lawsuit against the NCAA, whether the plaintiff has a likelihood of success on the merits of its claim. And so to grant the TRO, the federal judge had to look at that, and he said, I do think that the 7 plaintiffs have a likelihood of succeeding on their antitrust claim against the NCAA. And that same factor is something that has to be analyzed in granting a preliminary injunction as well. So the fact that the court already found that the plaintiffs have a likelihood of succeeding on their antitrust claim against the NCAA, I think tells me as an attorney that this judge is probably likely to also grant a preliminary injunction, which is the hearing that's going to happen on December 27th, is to determine whether that preliminary injunction's going to be entered. And another thing that is going to do that is, so today the hearing, I listened into it got done about 12:45 Eastern. The judge told everybody to go to lunch. It said, come back at 1:30 and I'll give you my ruling. He did that. He gave his ruling. And then a written order was put out on the court docket system shortly after that. And it was a 31-page order. So there's obviously no way he wrote that in 45 minutes. He already had that before the hearing. So he already knew what he was going to do before that hearing today, which is another indicator to me that he's probably going to grant a preliminary injunction as well, which would mean that you're going to have this same order that's in place now with the TRO, allowing multi-time transfers to play without a waiver for at least months, possibly a year. So you're talking about going into next basketball season, football season, all of that.
Mitt, before we let you go, as a guy who played Division I hoops and now in your career in law, how much does it come to your mind, and at what point do you think that the NCAA is just a playing rules and championships association versus a governance association?
Yeah, I think under the current state of the law right now, and I mean, the NCAA will tell you this, it's hard for them to govern right now because all of the rules that they put in place get challenged under antitrust law. In my mind, if they want to continue on as a governance association, what needs to happen, and a lot of people are not in favor of this, at least right now, but I think it's the way, if you want to have rules around player compensation, whether that's NIL, payments from collectives or direct payments from schools to athletes, or rules around player movement like transfer rules, you're going to have to collectively bargain with the athletes, because if you do that, the rules that are collectively bargained are immune from antitrust law. So if you look at pro sports, that's why in the NBA, they have a draft, they have a salary cap, they have rules around free agency. The reason they're allowed to have those rules is because they're collectively bargained between the Players Association and the league. Otherwise, those rules would violate antitrust law. So I think for college sports and college basketball specifically, to move forward with certainty with rules like that, in my mind, that's probably the best option, which is different than the way the model is now, and it would take a lot of changing and thought by a lot of people. But in my mind, that's the way to make that happen.
Mitt Winter. Follow him on Twitter, X, at Winter Sports Law. Mitt, we appreciate you staying up late with us and joining us on After Dark. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks, guys.
There he is. Okay, so we get the perspective there from someone who's studying all of this and dove into things. Let's get the coach's perspective. Chris Mack, when you're looking at this whole situation, where do you want to go with it? What's your thought process with transfer waivers and all that?
Well, just listening to Mitt, I don't know if there's necessarily a way for coaches to go a certain direction with it. It seems pretty clear, especially over the next year or so, that multi-transfers are going to be allowed, or in this case, aren't going to be able to be stopped by the NCAA. The hard part is, there were a lot of coaches in this offseason that elected not to go after certain kids because they decided to transfer for a second time. And, there were other schools that said, hey, we're going to go after them and try to file let's face it, some of them said we're going to file a bullshit waiver and see if we can get it through. And a lot of coaches knew that it wasn't necessarily on merit. But, those schools and those coaches get rewarded with a really good player that, has found his final home, I guess. Maybe not even final home now that you can just transfer as many times as you want. I don't know. From a coaching standpoint and a team building standpoint, it's really hard to see it being a good thing for college basketball.
Matt?
Yeah, I'm with Coach on that, and my other issue is just the leadership with the NCAA, right? I mean, Charlie Baker, Mark Emmert, whoever's making these decisions, and that are in these are they equipped to handle the job? Like, nobody's ever coached, Charlie Baker, and I don't want to get into political here. He was the governor in Massachusetts when I lived in Massachusetts, so I had to see him on the news every single day during COVID. So, when you're paying attention to what's going on with your state, all that stuff, I got to see the guy, and I was just doing my research too on Charlie Baker. He played JV basketball at Harvard. So in terms of running the NCAA and making the decisions in the NCAA that make sense and make sense for everybody that's involved, is he equipped for the job? I think that's my biggest thing is just who's making these decisions, the leadership. Have they ever coached a game? Have they ever played the game in college? I think that's something that I look at in terms of these huge decisions that are being made all around college athletics.
We got a break. My take would be that the NCAA transfer waiver situation is a dumpster fire, and they had this coming tonight. More to come on Creighton's upset loss next.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook for this college basketball season. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks and predictions throughout the college basketball season. And we are going to have special offers for you, the listeners and the viewers on the Field of 68 each and every week during the season. If you haven't signed up with BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FIELD1500 and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager on BetMGM Sportsbook. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD1500. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FIELD1500 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. John Fanta here on this Wednesday night, December the 13th. Matt McCall is here at Coach Matt McCall on X. At Coach Chris Mack. Chris Mack is here as well. Guys, let's turn to basketball now. We have a top 10 team in college hoops going down tonight. Final score, UNLV 79, 8th-ranked Creighton 64. In this game, Caleb Boone, who was able to play because of the court hearing earlier today, he goes for 25 points and 7 rebounds. How about Deaton Thomas Jr., 16 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. Meanwhile, Creighton, they dropped to 8-2. They're 0-2 against the Mountain West with that loss to Colorado State on Thanksgiving. They shot 8 of 29 from 3. Chris Mack, what went wrong for the Blue Jays?
Well, a lot, John. I think losing Nembhard has really hurt this team. I just think that Ashworth, while he serves a valuable role, he's just not the dynamic playmaker that Creighton had a year ago. I think Creighton has a quickness issue on the perimeter. I think UNLV exposed that. And I thought we talked about it, before the show, John. I thought Kalkbrenner was very ineffective defensively. Seemed like the man that was, Boone was just putting him under the rim and jump hooking. And that doesn't usually happen. But, a lot of times the prescription of going against the shot blocker is take it right at him and try to get in foul trouble. That's exactly what Vegas did, and they were really successful. My biggest concern for Creighton moving forward isn't losing the game at UNLV, but it's the fact that although Greg runs great stuff, he's got 1,000 set plays. The longer your season goes on, the more you're scouted, the more teams know your set plays, and then you have to play after the play. And I don't see a whole lot of playmaking on Creighton's team, like I did a year ago. When the set breaks down, being able to give it to Nembhard and using Kalkbrenner off a pick and roll is a lot different than Shireman or Ashworth using a pick and roll. And that's something that's not going to get cured, in my opinion. But they'll be a good team. I don't think they're a top 10 team. And that's no disrespect. It's just sort of the cards they're dealt with right now, in my opinion.
How awesome is it to watch Kevin Kruger coach this UNLV team? Okay, Lon Kruger and Coach Mack, I'm sure you've had interactions with him. I'll never forget Lon Kruger. I used to go to the University of Florida's basketball camp, and Lon Kruger would know every single kid's name at the end of camp. It was the most impressive thing I've ever seen. Amazing. And I used to play against Kevin Kruger at camp. Then he goes to UNLV, he plays for his dad, and now he's the head coach, and he gets a huge win. And I've talked to Kevin some, and his dad is definitely around the program. I mean, just a special moment for the Kruger family. What a great win. I know to talk about Creighton is important, but I don't want to discount how just awesome that is, that Kevin Kruger is the head coach of UNLV with what his dad did there. He coached with his dad and kind of made his own path, though, too, right? I mean, he made his own path to becoming the head coach at UNLV. And I think, look, man, that's a special story, and the Kruger family and everything Coach Kruger did for the game, and now his son's the head coach at UNLV. That is awesome. But as Coach Mack alluded to it, I mean, you know, Boone was a force to be reckoned with down there on the block. Losing Nimbar, that hurts. Who's going to be the guy for Creighton where they can put the ball in his hands and create and make plays and create for his teammates? I don't look too deep into this loss just because it was out in Nevada and, you know, everything that comes with traveling. I think Creighton will be okay. I think that, you know, the Big East, you know, how does this look going forward? Where do they finish? And I know we're going to talk about this in a little bit, just in terms of the top tier in the Big East. I just don't want to discredit what Kevin Kruger did tonight with UNLV. It's a great story, and the Kruger family, and especially Coach Lon Kruger, one of the best to ever do it in terms of just about the right things, do it the right way, treat people the right way, and that's a special moment for their family.
Yeah, it's a huge result for UNLV to get them to 4-4. They were coming off of a loss to Loyola Marymount. They also had that very sad campus tragedy. So for them, I know how much they were playing with that tragedy happening in honor of the victims there. That's a really, sports can bring a university together, and UNLV, those guys played their asses off tonight. They beat Creighton on every ball, every 50-50 ball. They beat Creighton in the post. You know, Creighton was a step slow all night. And Mack, I think that's my big takeaway here. Athletically, Creighton was slow. You said it. They didn't have anybody that could dribble penetrate. There's something to be said about being an elite shot making team. But when that's your biggest strength, it can do what it did tonight for them, and that was it totally backfired. They were dominated on the interior.
Yeah, and I also think, you know, again, sort of what Matt said, you got to give UNLV credit. But, you know, what really stuck out to me, because I know Creighton better than I know UNLV, is, you know, if you're going to rely on the three, you got to generate really good ones. And I just felt like, for the most part, it's a struggle for them to really get a lot of quality open shots, you know, especially at the end of the shot clock. Now, make no mistake, you know, they got their fare of threes, and they made some, they missed more. But I just think as they start to play Marquettes of the world, and they start to play the UConns of the world, you know, who have size on the interior, who have quickness, I just think it's going to be tough for them to be a team that can finish in the top 2 or 3. Just based on what I saw on a quickness level, and then on offense, an ability to break their man down and create when the shot clock's below 10.
And to Coach Mack's point, Fanta, too, I thought they missed layups, right? I mean, I think there's bunnies inside. Like, you've got to be able to finish those plays, especially if you're going to rely on the three. Maybe nights that the ball's not going in the basket. And we've talked about this with regards to Kentucky too, right? When Kentucky's not making threes, what are they going to do? How are they going to, you know, formulate points in the paint? But I thought in the game, Creighton just missed some bunnies and some layups in and around the basket that, to be an elite level team, you have to be able to make those.
Yeah.
All right, let's turn the page elsewhere in college hoops tonight. Final score: the Chicago State Cougars 75. The 25th ranked Northwestern Wildcats, who beat Purdue, 73. Wow, wow, wow. Chicago State gets their first high major win as long as Ken Pom has been tracking it. And the team that handed Purdue its only loss of the season just lost to an inner city Chicago foe that, frankly, has been a joke in college basketball for the better part of the last decade. But credit the Cougars for winning this game. Most of all, Wesley Cardette Jr., who had 30 points. But Coach McCall, this is one of those where you're saying, what? How did this happen?
It's one of those, around Christmas games, around final exam games, it's head scratcher for sure. Chicago State's their Super Bowl. They get an opportunity to play against a team in Northwestern that's in their city, and Northwestern's probably saying, hey, we'll be okay. This team has never really had a lot of success. We're going to go out here. This is not even going to be a close game. And then all of a sudden, Cardette goes for 30 points, and you're sitting there and you're in a dogfight. You're in an absolute dogfight because this is Chicago State's Super Bowl. You got to give their head coach a lot of credit. He had his team ready to play. Coach Gillian, the Gillian family down here in Florida, team breakdown back in the day. The Gillian family started team breakdown, and to see one of their own be a head coach in college, it's super impressive. But it was a letdown for sure for Northwestern. Excuse me.
I mean, I know what you're saying, but Chicago State is 321 in KenPom. I mean, this is one of those, this is a beyond belief. Right, Mack?
This is going to hurt. I don't know where Northwestern is going to end up in the standings of the Big Ten, but man, when they come down to the final stretch and it's like, hey, are they in or they out? And they start comparing good wins. And this is going to be a bad loss because, make no mistake, Chicago State didn't come in at 7-1 having the best year that they've had in recent years. You've got a fairly new coach in his second year in Gerald Galliant. You've got the fact that, they're 350 RPI. He's trying to, get a little bit of tradition. He's going to be king of Chicago here the rest of the year after tonight's result. But that's really going to hurt. That's really going to hurt Northwestern when it comes to the selection. It just, I can't imagine what Chris Collins is going through right now. And, we've all been around those type of games before, whether we've been the victim, whether we've been the victor. But it's one of those things where the game reaches a certain point, could be halftime, could be 12 minutes to go in the game, where that team that wasn't even expected to keep it close all of a sudden has confidence that they're not going to lose for the rest of the game. And that superior team supposedly, starts to play even tighter. What started off as, hey, let's all get our numbers, pass the ball around, man, let's get out of here with a 30-point win. All of a sudden, guys are looking at each other like, oh, my goodness. And
we're in a dogfight.
Pressure bursts pipes, man. And congrats to Chicago State. But I didn't even know that. I didn't even watch the game because I figured it wasn't even going to be close. And that's a tough night for Northwestern.
Yes, it is. It is a tough night. Speaking of tough nights, Louisville had a tough night, all right, and they had a difficult day. So take a look at this. Karan Davis earlier today of Louisville puts out a statement that Karan has informed the program that he intended to transfer. And they said, we support him and wish him well. Karan then tweets, I didn't express to anyone at U of Louisville that I wanted to transfer. I never asked to transfer. I enjoy being a Cardinal. The fact an official statement was released giving false information is disheartening and sad. And then Louisville comes back and says, he was informed that he was dismissed from the team. Now, here's the thing. That Louisville was trying to do Karan a favor, and Karan had to tweet there, and it backfires. Louisville then proceeds to lose 75-63 to Arkansas State. So while we have a minute before our break, I'm not going to put the pressure on the coaches. I'm just going to say it right now. It's time for the Kenny Payne era to end. This is embarrassing. Louisville, you are a top 10 to 15 brand in college basketball. You have a rich history. This isn't working. And it needs to end now. Because you just lost to Arkansas State and to DePaul. You are the Louisville Cardinals men's basketball program. Your history speaks for itself. You had to issue 2 separate statements about a player getting dismissed from your team, and then you lost by double digits to Arkansas State. That's not acceptable. And the fan base now should have apathy. They're not even mad. They expect to lose. Under no circumstances should that be the case for Louisville men's basketball. What a disgrace. That needs to get changed now. We're back with the preview. This is After Dark.
As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook for this college basketball season. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks and predictions throughout the college basketball season. And we are going to have special offers for you, the listeners and the viewers on the Field of 68 each and every week during the season. If you haven't signed up with BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FIELD1500 and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager on BetMGM Sportsbook. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD1500. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FIELD1500 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. John Fanta, Chris Mack, Matt McCall with you. Hey, we have big news. We have a brand new fashion correspondent, Cam Jones. And if you haven't seen it at the Field of 68, he's got a brand new T-shirt out there. You got to check it out at the Field of 68. Head to our shop and get it. Cam caught up with Rob Doster and Jeff Goodman. Cam's averaging 16 points, 3 assists per game. He's shooting 50% from the floor on one of the best teams in America, the Golden Eagles. And he's got a lot of swagger as well. He's a kid from Memphis, Tennessee. Of course he does. Here's our feature on Cam Jones, our new Field of 68 fashion correspondent.
And now let me welcome on to the Field of 68, our new fashion correspondent, none other than Cam Jones of the Marquette Golden Eagles. Cam, what's going on, man? It's good to have you here. I want to start you off with this. How did you end up getting into clothes? How did you end up getting into style? How did you become this kind of fashion connoisseur that you are now?
Appreciate y'all for having me. That was actually a nice little slideshow. I like that. How we started that out. I kind of been into fashion a little bit through the years, just trying to figure out what I liked, honestly, trying to figure out, the different varieties that I like to put together. And I realized, style is kind of like what you make it. You don't really have to have one specific style that you like to keep wearing or, keep using. So if you like something, it's very subjective, it's all up to you. So that's the biggest thing I really appreciate about style. And that's why I use it as really like a kind of sort of a platform of me just, showing, what I like.
All right. Well, we have some photos here that our producer is going to bring up. And I want you to break down the outfits. I want you to break down the style. I want you to break down what these guys have on. We're going to start with Shaka Smart here. And this is a photo of him from this is from the Texas days. Okay. He's got the tie going. He doesn't wear a jacket. It's a little bit better than when he was in his VCU days. I think we do have a picture here of him with some of his VCU style as well. There you see the shirt's a little bit looser, right? The goatee's going there. Break down Coach Smart's pre-Marquette look.
Okay. On the left, you feel me? Like you said, he got a shirt. It's a baggier look. It's tucked in. I like the tie. I like how that tie goes with the pants. It really does, and it sticks out with the purple. Him having a white shirt. So knowing Coach Smart, he not really out there to be pretty. He out there trying to win. And this pre-Marquette day, so I know he out there just trying to be a dog, and I'm sure he sweated that shirt out.
All right, so give me the rating, Cam. Give me the rating of pre Marquette Shaka, 1 to 10, right there. What is it?
This suit, I get out a 7. Not solid 7.5.
Wow. All right.
You're going to be a harsh grader all season long. I could tell this. All right, break down these two outfits.
Yeah, we're gonna be honest. You know, I love Coach Smart. Our relationship is pride on honesty.
What do we give
The
that?
right one, I think this is better. I think this is better than the one on the left or the first one you showed me, with the jacket.
He looks younger, Cam, with the hair. With the hair, he just looks younger, doesn't he?
I don't know. I don't know. Let me pull it back up. Let me see.
All right.
Younger.
Better.
I like the hair. I do like the hair. I mean, me personally, I like bald coats too, but I'll go with the hair. So that's nice. I get a nice, 7.9. That's nice.
7.9. All right. His look,
right there. Close.
His look now that he's at Marquette, he's going with the long sleeve dry fits underneath the polos. Now, he stole this look from me. This is my look, okay? This is what, see? There you go. I want you to rate these outfits for me. What do you think of the long sleeve dry fit under a polo?
It's terrible. You can say it, Cam. This is awful look.
I promise every time we do one of these, I'm gonna be completely honest every time. Yeah. Feel me? That's just workflow. You ain't really trying to, impress. You trying to do what you got to do. But
you know what it is, Cam? You know what it is? Coach Smart is in good shape. He looks good. He can pull that thing off. Doster has a dad bod, a big belly, and he just can't pull that thing off. He just can't. Cam, has he ever admitted he got this look from Doster? Have you ever asked him where he got it from and if he stole it from Doster?
How about this? I'll ask him where he got it
confirmed,
and then I'll let y'all know his response.
What's the rating?
Not gonna lie, man. I'm gonna have to give you at work, man. I'm gonna have to give you a cool little 5.
Oh God.
There's nothing wrong with the work, man. There's nothing wrong with that. You gotta
give Coach a rating too. What was Coach's?
With this particular, with the dark blue, long sleeve with the white and blue. I'm trying to picture what shoes you have on, but with just what I'm saying, I get at a cool. I'll go 7.8. Not 7.8. He close. I really like the long sleeve. I like what he coaches in. I like that.
All right, Cam. Goodman mentioned dad bods earlier, so I want you to rate this outfit that Goodman wore to work to do an interview with Elijah Martin and Janelle Davis from FAU. What do we got here?
Oh my,
that's wrong.
God.
That's wrong.
That's crazy.
We were in Boca, Cam. We were in Boca. It was 85 degrees out. I was dripping, man. Like this ain't right. This ain't right. They're slandering me, Cam. It's a bad angle.
That's wild. That's wild. That's a wild pick. You feel me? You got clothes on, so I can't say 0. So you feel me? I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna give you 1.5. That look kind of crazy.
That's crazy. Oh my goodness.
Hey, nah, but I'm not saying it's a bad fit. Like, it's cool, but like you said, it's hot outside. Like, there's nothing wrong with what you got on, but you feel me?
I'm gonna need a full makeover.
We're not only rating the outfits of your coach here. We also have you sent us some photos of point guard Tyler Kolek here, who actually he cleans up pretty nice. What do we got here?
Yeah, so one thing, Tyler stays in his lane. You feel me? I've never seen Tyler really try to, you feel me, just really try to wow somebody. Like, you see both these fits, he got plain tees on, but you see he got the Louis Vuitton bag, he got the all black with the tennis on. That's cool. That's like 8 Mile swag. You feel me? That's like a that give me that type of vibe. Look how you look in the off guard. And I'm trying to figure. I think that's in Italy for sure.
Gotta be. No, he looks good. He looks like he could be posing for some sort of magazine in the middle one.
These is nice. These are real nice. We was in. I know for a fact the one with the white tee, we was in Florence for sure. I remember what that looked like. But
all right, let's break down. Give me a rating. Put those 3 back up, and let's give a rating on all 3 of those. Start with the one on the left.
Yeah, with the one on the all right. The suit. All right, but the suit, I never, like I said, he ain't never really tried to come crazy with the suit. He keep it real casual. That's a nice little red tie. Feel me? But that suit, I'll get out of cool. That's a nice 7.8, 7.6. I like that.
With the Shaka Smart on the shoulder as an accessory.
Mm-hmm. That's a nice accessory. That don't apply to the rating, but that is nice to have. That's a nice picture to have.
All right, the middle one. Give me the rating. The middle one, the T-shirt, the white tee.
I like these jeans and these twos. The white tee too. That's a nice calm fit. Nice, good calm fit. I'll go with 7.5. That's a good rating for that. I like that with the Apple Watch too.
And then the one on the right. What's
he
got
right,
around his neck?
I think that's just a nice little tennis chain. You feel me? Nothing too crazy. Okay. Just to go with the calmness of the fit. You know, he got all black on, or just plain black jeans. Then he got the black LV bag. You know what I'm saying? That's what give you the white chocolate vibes. You feel what I'm saying? He pull up so calm and collective. Then he got the LV bag. That's what give me that he got swag type vibe from Tyler. That's kind of funny. I like this. So he'll get the highest vote of the day with it. I'll give him an 8. He cracked that 8. Tyler's funny. He has a very funny personality. He's definitely one of a kind. And like I said, yeah, he definitely with the Louis V bag, and the way he plays, man, he played with with Hanes boxers. I've never seen that, man. Like the normal Hanes boxers, like from the gas station. He playing them every game under his shorts. It's crazy, man. He out there throwing passes like this with Hanes boxers, man. It's funny to think about. It's funny to think about.
Oh man, with Hanes boxers back from 19, when he was born, probably. Probably the same.
I want to say I think he does play with an undershirt. Sometimes he don't even play with an undershirt on, man. Hanes boxers, no undershirt. That's wild. And he be out there doing what he doing. That's hilarious.
How would you kind of assess this season so far, Cam, for you guys as a team? Because obviously you've had some huge wins, and the losses have been tough losses, right? I mean, no shame in losing to Purdue. They're one of the best teams in the country. And then I know it couldn't have been easy to lose in Madison, period, against Wisconsin, but they're a good team, and that's a hostile environment. Again, how would you kind of rate what you guys have done so far and where you're at as a team?
I think we've done a pretty good job so far. Definitely could be better. That Purdue game in Hawaii, had a few plays went our way. He don't make an 80-footer. They don't make 15,000 threes. Whatever. They played great that game. They deserve to win, and they did win. Same with, in Madison. We obviously don't want to go in there and lose that game, but we made it easy. We made it easy on them. We didn't make it hard for them to guard us. We didn't play, with the same mindset that we should and that we do almost every game. Which is why we lost. If you don't deserve to win, nobody in basketball is entitled to winning. Ranking doesn't win a game for you. No one is entitled to winning. You have to go out there and do what it takes to win, no matter who you are. That's just the game, and that's how it is. And we didn't do that Saturday, and that's why the result was what it was.
Well, Cam, listen, I appreciate you jumping on with us. We appreciate your fashion insight, and I promise you that throughout the rest of the season, I'm going to be cognizant of the fact that these guys are going to be throwing pictures up there of me. So I got to bring my A game. I got to make sure that I look good every time we get up there. And I'm going to roll the sleeves down now. Whenever I do the long sleeve under the polo, I'm going to roll the sleeves down now just because I got roasted by you about it.
There we go.
The worst thing for me is, Cam, I'm in, and Rob's going to make fun of me here, but I'm in Charleston, South Carolina for the next 7 weeks eating dessert every night. So that picture you saw of me might be the best you see me look in the next 7 weeks.
For sure. Appreciate y'all anytime. Thank you.
You got it.
Oh, that was fantastic. Critiquing Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster's look, not to mention Tyler Cullen. Check out the Cam Jones tee, available now, fieldof68.shop. Fieldof68.shop. How fun was that, Mac?
I'm the last guy to talk about fashion, so I'll leave that to Cam Jones. And, at least I didn't get critiqued, but I know this. I'd probably be in a little bit better shape than either Douster or Goodman based on the photographs I saw.
Do we not hear McCall? Looks
like on mute, or he's a
hell of a ventriloquist. You might be muted. Well, we'll take a break here. This is the Field of 68 After Dark, the leading college basketball show. We talk about this sport and manage to talk about boxer. We're back with more after
that. As you guys know by now, we've partnered with BetMGM Sportsbook for this college basketball season. We're going to be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks and predictions throughout the college basketball season. And we are going to have special offers for you, the listeners and the viewers on the Field of 68 each and every week during the season. If you haven't signed up with BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FIELD1500 and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager on BetMGM Sportsbook. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD1500. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You will receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if that bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FIELD1500 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today.
Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. John Fanta, Chris Mack, Matt McCall. So we just heard from Cam Jones of Marquette. And Big East play starts Tuesday, a week from tonight. So Chris Mack, now that we're 5 weeks into the season and we can revisit this, who do you think will hoist the Big East regular season championship trophy?
Can I give you two answers?
No. I mean, there could be co-champs. You know about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Really, where do you go here?
Man, I think it's really going to come down to, who's the healthiest team at the end of the year. I think either one of those teams, Marquette or Connecticut, have the ability to play in the Final Four, and obviously Connecticut did it a year ago, and they won it all. So I think because of anything, just simply because they were there a year ago, they know how it feels, and I love the way that Danny's team has come out with a chip on their shoulder this year. They're not in celebratory mode. They go to Kansas and honestly could have won the game. I know they're headed to Gonzaga here this weekend. I think they're going to win that one. And as much as I really like Marquette and think that Kolek probably is the best point guard in the country, I just think that Connecticut is the best team until proven otherwise. And I know a year ago they were proven otherwise in the Big East tournament. And that could happen again, but for my money, I would go with UConn right now.
Coach McCall.
Yeah, I'm with Coach. I equate it kind of to college football, right? Like everyone was so worried about what Georgia lost in college football, but they were still the number one ranked team in the country. They had never, what was it, like however long their win streak was, all those games, back-to-back national championships, 19 back-to-back national championships. They're the team to beat. And no one was really talking about UConn in that category when we got to the season. And all they've done outside of losing in Allen Fieldhouse, which is one of the hardest places to play in the country, they've done exactly what they're supposed to do. So I think it's hard until, we get to Big East play and we see exactly what happens. But they, in my opinion, I'm with Coach. They have to be the favorite just based on what they've done up to this point in the year with everything that they lost, the pros that they lost, the players they lost, Andre, all these guys that they lose, they're still in the same position as a top 5 team in the country. So until proven otherwise, I'm rolling with UConn.
Man, it is difficult to pick one. I think that the argument for Marquette is that they did beat Kansas, that they did get to the Maui final, and Purdue played a hell of a game. And Purdue found a way to beat them. Marquette came off Maui. Now, Purdue came off Maui and lost to Northwestern. Marquette came off it and lost at Wisconsin. We've seen this throughout the years, that there could be a Maui hangover of sorts. But guys, UConn's best is the best in this conference. When they hit that best level, and Cam Spencer and Alex Caravan are hitting weak side threes, and Tristan Newton is initiating this offense and is making things happen, Donovan Clingan hasn't even been great. They haven't needed him to be. Stephon Castle has barely played because of his injury. Solomon Ball gets better every game, and those freshmen are only going to go in one direction. I'm with both of you. Net plus 175, plus 175. Not going to lie, like Villanova at plus 1,000, I don't mind sprinkling. I think Justin Moore's going to be back. That's not a bad value. And, Providence is a longer shot, but Bryce Hopkins is a stud, and Providence is so tough at home. But I think Connecticut's the best team in this league. I'm with you guys. While we got a moment, I'm going to say this. It's time to talk about Vaulted. Vaulted is an app that allows you to participate in daily cash prize pools without an entry fee. It's the place to store your own bold predictions forever. And by using the Vaulted Challenge feature, you can prove you're smarter than your friends. So go download the Vaulted app and give it a try for free. Vaulted is spelled VLTED, and it is the app to challenge your friends, store your predictions, and join daily cash prize pools without any entry fee. Download Vaulted today. My challenge is this. Michigan State will stun Baylor on Saturday and save its season. Do you two accept my challenge?
What do you mean,
Coach,
in terms of accepting it? Do I believe it? Do I believe in your challenge? I'm going to say, hell no. They have no chance. You know what? I've been on the Izzo bandwagon. Like, he's going to turn him around in March, and he may turn him around in March, but he ain't turning him around in December. Not against Baylor. Baylor's going to smack him.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm with Coach. 25 straight NCAA tournaments.
It's on life support.
Are they going to make
it
26? Yeah, it's not looking good. They look out of sorts. They're not executing on offense. I'm with Coach on this one. I don't think they go down there and beat the Baylor Bears. I don't see it. I don't see it.
They have no interior scoring.
None.
And their perimeter looks disjointed. They just struggle, man.
I'm just saying this sport's so screwed
Baylor's
up
good
right now. Yeah, I know. I'm with you. Baylor is good. Baylor's really good. All right, before we get done with the hour and we go to last call, I asked you guys a couple days ago when we were talking about show ideas, because it's the holiday season, a lot of people are going to be traveling here. Wildest road trip. It could be while you were coaching. It could be while you were playing. It could be something that has nothing to do with basketball. So, Coach McCall, give America your wildest road trip story.
Man, so I was the director of basketball operations at the University of Florida, and this is the year after we had just gone back-to-back. So it's 2008 season. Chandler Parsons is a freshman. Nick Calathis, Alex Tyus. Jay Lucas was there at this point in time, and we're playing in the postseason in IT, and we have to travel to Arizona State to play James Harden out in Arizona. And we flew commercial out to the game. And we land in Arizona, and I'm the ops guy. And there was 2 Courtyard Marriotts within a mile of each other. And when you're the ops guy and you're in charge of travel, you got to make sure that bus driver, he's got the right address. He's doing everything. And we pull up to the hotel at about, 2 a.m., which was 4 a.m. East Coast time. Everybody's tired. We unload all the bags, and we walk into the hotel, and we're at the wrong hotel. We're at the wrong hotel. And I just look at Coach Donovan, and I think maybe he was so tired that he wasn't upset. And I was still trying to figure out, was it my fault? Was it the bus driver's fault? The bus driver acted like he knew all about Arizona, but that was not a great look for us, and especially because I was in charge of team travel, being the ops guy, that we went to the wrong hotel in the postseason. Now we won the game. But that was not a good look for us, for me, especially being the ops guy. And Coach knows that.
Yeah, I've been there.
Mack, you got 90 seconds. Give us a story.
Well, I'd say that, a couple of years ago during COVID, we went to Syracuse and didn't play the game. We flew all the way there. I went to Dinosaur Barbecue. They canceled the game because 3 guys had tested positive on the plane ride or something by the time we landed. So we went to Syracuse and back and never played. And then they actually came to our place and we didn't play them. So that was a little strange. But I tell you, it's not even a game, but it's a recruiting trip. You know, the kid Frederick King, who actually plays for Creighton now, he was committed to us at Louisville. And my assistant and I, we flew from Louisville to Nassau, Bahamas. And then we met the dad and we met Frederick there, but he lives on an island called Andros, which is one of the other 500 small islands. And we had to take a puddle jumping plane from Nassau to Andros. I could touch the pilot. That's how close I was. Like literally, if I wanted to take us down, I could. And by the way, we had to have, it was like a bus. We stopped at 2 different, like we stopped, we let people off, we went back up in the air, and it sounded like we were on a lawnmower. And dude, in the aisle, I am not bullshitting, there were chickens. We landed on Andros. Beautiful. We got Frederick. But that was probably one of the weirdest experiences ever.
Head to stadium for last call. This has been